Hello my disciples, and welcome to another episode of Character Cross Section. This time we're going to be talking about Judge Holden from Blood Meridian. But before we do, I'm just going to be straight with you. Sorry for the delay between videos. I've been writing the Scarlet Queen's novelization for the last, few months. I've been slowly working on it over the last year, and I'm just about to finish Act 1 as I'm recording this. That alongside other projects and real life shenanigans as well. But anyway, regardless. Not getting straight into it, I'm going to take a moment to warn you that if you're planning on reading Blood Meridian, the book is extremely violent, so if you're sensitive to depictions of depravity and violence, just maybe leave this one alone. Anyway, now to actually talk about Judge Holden as a character. The Judge is the main antagonist of Cormac McCarthy's horror thriller book Blood Meridian. Appearance-wise, Judge Holden is strange. He has an enormous frame, he's immensely muscular, and nearly 7 feet tall. His skin extremely pale to a point where it's almost albino and is described as being fluorescent. He lacks any and all body hair, and has very prominent facial features. His hands and feet also being relatively small in proportion to the rest of his body, and a face possessing almost youngling-like aspects to its overall shape. Also, for just a bit of context, I have to call a young human a youngling because for some reason YouTube doesn't like the C word, or even the K word. Your video will straight up just not get seen by anyone if you say it. Anyway, whatever, let's move on. Another thing to note about him is that according to Tobin, he weighs 150 kilograms, which is equivalent to 330.69 pounds. And another interesting aspect of his appearance is that due to his pale skin, sunlight appears to cause him actual pain, as evident by the fact that he was extremely desperate to purchase a hat from Toadvine to protect himself from the harsh sunlight. And now with his appearance out of the way, now to cover his personality. Judge Holden is a ruthless, depraved, sadistic, remorseless psychopath, but also very intelligent and knowledgeable as an individual, often teaching lessons about the world and how it works to his fellow mercenaries and even philosophizing with them. And while he has a predisposition to avoiding personal confrontation, he is more than willing to murder and SA people in the most brutal ways imaginable, usually if they're his enemies, but he's well known to just do this to innocent people as well. Demeanor wise, he is usually calm and rarely losing his cool throughout the novel, but when it comes to how vile and cruel Judge Holden can be, he is extremely sadistic and has displayed this on multiple occasions, such as him buying 2 puppies just so he could toss them off a cliff to drown in a river, before the 2 puppies were shot and killed by I can't pronounce the name of that guy, but the guy who shot them is also known as Bathcat, so we're just going to call him that. But the Judge is also known to be a sick, murderous pervert who preys on those who are exceptionally young, him often luring them away with clutches of sweets, a youngling always going missing in every town that he visits, him being seen on several occasions with naked ones in his room.
That was really bad.
So overall, it's fair to say Judge Holden would without a doubt be buying tickets to a certain island. But anyway, another thing the Judge is known for doing is being exceedingly manipulative. An example of this being when he's first introduced to the story, in which he falsely accuses a priest of being an imposter, illiterate, and having a thing for animals and younglings. Holden managing to agitate the people in attendance to a point where they straight up just try to kill the priest on the spot. Him saying, and I quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, I feel it my duty to inform you that the man holding this revival is an imposter. He holds no papers of divinity from any institution recognized or improvised. He is altogether devoid of the least qualification to the office he has usurped, and he has only committed to memory a few passages from the good book for the purpose of lending to his fraudulent sermons some faint flavor of the piety he despises. In truth, the gentleman standing there before you poses as a minister of the Lord is not only totally illiterate, but is also warned by the law in the states of Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Arkansas." End quote. This being the first appearance of the Judge. So it's very clear here that he has extreme charisma skills and is very skilled at manipulation, which is what allows me to segue into talking about his powers and abilities. The Judge is extremely strong and durable, able to hold a heavy howitzer under one arm, break a person's arm with ease, and crush a person's head between his hands with so much force that they bleed from their ears. He also possesses insane levels of stamina, able to walk vast distances in the desert with zero ill effect, and is able to straight up just appear and disappear like a ghost without a single person noticing. All of these abilities seem to suggest that Judge Holden is in fact not human but some sort of demon or just the devil himself in human form. He's also interestingly an appointed judge of law and enjoys all the privileges that would come with such a position, including the ability to negotiate for the pardoning of criminals, and while his jurisdiction is not specifically known, he can cite words and law passages from several jurisdictions from his memory alone. He's also exceptionally intelligent and has extensive knowledge of many branches of science, including but probably not limited to geology, history, chemistry, botany, archaeology, etc., and is shown to have exceptional drawing skills, able to draw lifelike portraits. Not only that, but is exceptionally skilled at hiding the atrocities he's committed, never leaving behind any evidence, having multiple secondary languages under his belt as well, such as Spanish and Dutch. Regarding his past, however, the novel is very vague about his origins to a point where there's pretty much nothing known about him. The narrator even stating that the judge is something, and I quote, wholly other than their son, nor was there system by which to divide him back into his origins, for he would not go, end quote, and that he has no beginning or end. So yeah, the novel pretty much makes it clear, from my impression at least, that Judge Holden is not human. This thing is some sort of demon, if not the devil himself in physical form. Then again, I may be missing something. I had to rely on mostly Wendigoon's video on this book, because I'm gonna be honest, I tried to sit down and read this, but I just couldn't. I just straight up couldn't finish the book. Like, I found a way to read it online, I got a little bit into it, but then I got distracted and had to go do other things, and then I ended up watching Wendigoon's video on it, like I think about a month later. And honestly, thank the Scarlet Queen that I forgot to actually read the book. I am not going to be sitting down and reading that. Jesus fucking H Christ on a stick. I mean, technically he was on one, if you can call a cross a stick. Well, it's two big sticks stuck together, I guess. But regardless, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, researching this book is probably one of the most uncomfortable topics I've actually had to sit down and research in a fucking while. So you know what, I'm just gonna end the video here. Have a good day or afternoon or night, I don't know. Goodbye.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?